Bannon is facing a jury of all white and like the prosecutors excluding.
It's a high burden to get rid of that jury. It's a high burden.
I don't know. I mean, well, think about this. You know, whoa.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying it's a high burden to show that it's racially, unconstitutional.
I mean, you see, like, if you look at the polling, well, I want to make this point because this is, I think, the key issue, which I think liberals elide all the time. You look at the polling on, like, for example, whether liberal parents would be happy if their child came home with a conservative partner to marry. They're not. And in fact, in general, this number is higher than in a world where, like, than cross-racial. So, I mean, I'm sorry, like, the way that there's polarization in this country between Republicans and Democrats, which is literally demonstrated by this room, and also a lot of, like, the things, intemperate things you said about, like, the people in this room, is demonstrating that there's not a jury of your peers, and the J6ers didn't get fair trials.
Let me ask you another question. Is it due process if the prosecution uses information from after the trial happened to seek a greater sentence on the individual based on speech of the individual?
No, why would it
Not
be?
necessarily.
That's
no.
not. That is not.
It
not a
gets to
violation.
whether or not you have regret, whether or not you. There are factors of sentencing that you're able to, that the judge has discretion to weigh.
Your speech.
That aren't. Yes, your speech.
so-
So, for example, I'll give you a case like Martin Shkreli. You guys know Martin Shkreli?
Of course, yes.
So Shkreli, and this is actually, I think Shkreli can be funny sometimes, but he like talked shit about Hillary Clinton when he had his trial or something, and then the judge sentenced him more. Now you might disagree with that, but it just is the case that judges are allowed a great deal of discretion at sentencing, and that's our system.
Okay, can I introduce kind of a new topic a little bit because I feel like we're going to bog down the.
Yeah, you got less than a minute though.
Well,
Go ahead.
okay, let's give him time.
We haven't had a liberal yet the entire night.
That's what I'm saying. We'll talk. Hey, Cash, say
I'm ready, Alex,
something.
I'm ready. I'm sorry.
Gosh,
Keep 'em around.
like a bump on
I
the
think
wall.
that Pisco hinted at, and I was kind of talking about this in my opening speech, is that what's important to recognize here is that it sets a precedent. These laws set a bad precedent. I think we should also talk about Mahmoud Khalil. I go to Georgetown. There was a guy that was in our grad department that got deported for supporting Palestine, literally just for supporting Palestine. I just want to hear the conservatives hear that if AOC gets elected and designates Israel as a terrorist state and starts supporting a bunch of pro-Israel people, I'm Jewish, I'm pro-Israel, I'd be afraid that you conservatives have opened the floodgates
100%.
for free speech to be completely violated.
Wait.
Because Trump is breaking these
I
laws.
will answer
takes
this.
It takes two to tango with these laws. It's incredibly important.
I will answer your point. If you manage to get AOC to be president, and she, in her bizarre wisdom, not wisdom, right? But if she decides to say, you know what, if we think the IDF is a terrorist organization, you manage to classify it as such, and then you say Israelis who advocated on behalf of the IDF, she would have the authority to do so under our laws, right? She could deport Israelis.
She has authority to give them due process.
Wait, bro. So I would argue that a large. I don't know the exact numbers. But the Trump base is split between anti-interventionist, bye-bye Israel, and pro-Israel. There's a lot of people who are pro-Israel, but when the argument you make about the conservatives, you're going to find a lot of them are more like conservatarian, being like, yeah, I don't give a shit about Israel.
That's his point. He's trying to.
They're not going to disagree. They're going to cheer you on.
We're engaging in a hypothetical here.
Here's my point.
Wait.
I guess the fundamental answer is I'm happy with the Khalil deportation. The guy hates our country. He's a guest. He can go home. Sorry, you want to go out there and be like...
I think people that rioted the Capitol hate this country more than someone criticizing foreign policy. All the people on green card that destroyed the Capitol should be deported immediately. 100%. That is the same category. Hating this country. Hating this country. Some of them are not citizens that destroyed the Capitol.
I got a question for Will. You said he's a guest in our country.
Oh, Will.
Yeah.
Wait. He's a guest in our country. He hates our country, so we could deport him.
Yes.
And that is... The State Department has the discretion just to say, we revoke your visa. Mm-hmm. Is there a specific criteria by which you think they're required, or do you think it's unilateral? No, you're a guest, get the fuck out.
Under law, honestly, the Secretary of State, there's a provision that was used in this case, which is the Secretary of State said, this guy's continued presence in the country is damaging to American foreign policy.
That is very vague. AOC's president. Just quickly say.
Sure, I understand that this will be slow, but I just think that's the law.
President AOC in 2029 says, Steven Crowder, you are a guest in this country. Get the fuck out.
True. He's a citizen, so that doesn't
Viva Fry.
Steven Crowder's on green card.
Viva Fry.
Viva
Fry. Better start enjoying
hypothetically.
poutine again because he's got to go back. I said he's got to enjoy poutine again because he's got to go back to.
All right.
Canada.
So here's a question, right?
We love you, Viva.
Under that framework, Will, just a quick question.
Okay.
The First Amendment, relates to speech. It also relates to the religion clauses. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So, under that discretion, what can the State Department say? Muslims, as a general rule, are damaging damaging, prejudicial to our foreign policy interests, and then we're going to get rid of them.
That's an interesting question because I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's a statutory. I mean, I guess you could make an argument. I haven't really thought about that one.
Question is, it doesn't matter what the INA says if it violates a right, like the free
Right, but I
exercise
think the
clause.
the Supreme Court's already resolved this. There's just not a First Amendment defense to removal, right?
wait,
I don't think
of
there
course
is.
There is.
Of course
But
there
we
is.
defend
But
their
no,
right
hold
to
on.
speak on foreign
I
issues.
do
No.
really like this question.
Yes.
Because it also strikes at how do we define religion legally? And if we're dealing with terrorist organizations, would we allow them to use religion as a shield for their extremist ideologies, or do we separate that legally? And
Right, because like that. I mean, that also like. I mean, if religion, free practice of religion, then it's like you can't. I mean, maybe supporting a terrorist organization is a core religious belief.
But
like,
just
you
be
can
clear. So you're opening the door. Is it Caleb? Sorry,
Cash.
Sorry, as Cash said, if you're going to allow this big room, this big hole in the First Amendment for certain speech in favor of Hamas, now you're opening the door for okay, if you're a Christian and you're not a citizen, we can deport you just because you're a Christian.
You invaded the Capitol. You're not a citizen.
I want to say to you what you said. Just to answer your question, you said if President AOC, what you described, most people feel happened already with Biden.
And they're wrong. What do you mean? Wait, explain. They're wrong.
No. It's not wrong that someone felt a way.
Yeah, but okay. I feel that you're all wrong.
Yeah, I feel
What
that
are
you're wrong.
you saying? That's kind of
And I do agree that you feel we're wrong. My
Okay.
point is, you said
You're saying nothing. I don't understand.
you said how would you feel if AOC became president?
It's
and
a way of
designated
asking
group?
the question.
Obviously, you understand. What I'm trying to point out is the hypocrisy here. That of course,
And
if
what I'm
AOC started
pointing
deporting
out
people
is
that are
the
dangerous,
circumstance you described already happened.
no, it
He's
didn't.
asking you
It
to
actually
actually
did. There were Israeli advocates of like who were opposed to the two-bank solution, and Biden denied their visas simply on the grounds.
Whoa,
that they-
Denying
denial
visa
visa
is
is not
different
the
than
same
someone
as
already in the
deportation.
country.
It's not even that.
That's a lie. You were lying
about
purposely.
J6.
I am not lying about
We're
that.
talking about
you're
You-
making
you
a false
literally-
equivalency. You're making a false equivalency. Obviously,
Don't accuse me
denying
of
a
lying
visa
when you
is a
say I'm making
different.
a false
This is-
equivalence.
listen, listen. Okay,
It is
but this
basically
is
the same. You're intentionally
listen.
misrepresenting a case for political points.
This is not-
Cash.
Yes,
He
sure.
could just be wrong,
Listen,
or he could just disagree with
this
him.
is not the
Sure,
point
sure.
that I was
You're not
making.
lying. You're not lying.
I didn't misrepresent.
Let me tell you a story, and I want to hear your reaction to it.
Please.
There was a man and a woman in their mid-40s. Several hours after the events of January 6th, they were in D.C. They live in Maryland. They walked up on the backside of the Capitol where there was no violence and nothing was going on. The doors were open. There were no barricades. They walked up to the building. No police in sight. They walked into the building and looked around taking pictures and walked out after about 3 or 4 minutes. Should they go to prison?
It depends.
On what?
I love that answer. It's the ultimate one.
It depends.
Sure, I'll say intuitively no. Sure.
well, they
what's-
fucking did.
Okay, do you know what's
Why?
great though? Is that they now have due process and they're going to go through. And if a
100%.
court finds them, if
My
a court,
point.
If a court
I
finds
understand.
Based.
Yeah.
My point was what you describe about AOC going after people happened to people who bumbled upon the Capitol not knowing what was
Tim,
going on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If AOC took that case and just deported them instead of getting due process, would you be more mad?
Deported American citizens. I would be mad, yes.
Okay, sorry.
If, I'll give
Okay,
you one.
do you understand what I'm asking?
If
If there are
Donald
two
Trump
people on
sends
green
American
cards, like
citizens
walking
to CCAT,
out.
I'll be mad.
Well, he says he wants. You agree? He said he wants to do that, right?
And it's wrong to have said it.
Okay, cool.
And it should never happen. And I will always.
So do you
speak out
condemn him
against
for saying it?
it. I condemn. Well, let me.
Multiple times.
Right. Let me say this.
You won't because you're beholden to the
Let me-
administration.
You contempt Omar Garcia for being his
I want
wife.
to try to help people understand things. So let me give you an answer. Piers Morgan asked me the other day, if Joe Biden did the things Trump did, would you praise him for it? And I said, no, probably not. You asked me before the show. I
realize
can't
that's
remember what you said,
unhinged,
something
right?
similar. And I said, the issue is that Donald Trump largely represents my moral worldview, which means I'm tolerant of his failings.
So morals
Joe
mean you
Biden-
could violate the
So you won't
Constitution.
condemn it
That's what you're
because
saying.
You won't condemn it.
Let me finish
You're
what I'm
saying
saying.
your morals, your subjective morals can
Let me
violate the
finish
Constitution.
what
Sorry,
I'm
yes.
saying.
Sorry,
Joe
Tim.
Biden largely represents things that are antithetical to my worldviews. This is not about whether or not someone could violate the Constitution, because I already told you Trump sending Americans to CCAT is a bad thing, and
But you won't condemn him for saying it.
Okay, so you condemn him for violating the Constitution. Just
saying
please
it, for saying
say
it.
yes, and I'll let you finish.
You are loading the question.
I'm not loading the question. It's literally he violated the Constitution. Do you support it? Yes or
We are
not?
talking about if he were to do something, not did he do something.
If he already did something, we're asking you to
If
condemn
Donald Trump sent American citizens to CICAT, I would condemn him for
But he
that.
said he wants to do it. So do you condemn that? Do you
I
condemn him saying-
condemn
do you
those
condemn him saying
statements.
that? Okay,
yes,
cool.
100%.
I appreciate that.
I also will tell you this: Donald Trump should be criminally investigated for the killing of Abdurrahman al-Awlaki's little sister in Yemen. He gets no free passes from me, but
Based.
we don't know for sure. What we do know is that Obama admitted to it. We know there's